This conference will now be recorded.
So in the previous session, we have discussed about the DML statements. And as part of this DML statements, we have discussed about the insert statement, delete statement, and undelete statement also. Now we'll see the update statement. How can we update the records through programming? We'll see practically. How can we update these records with the help of the suffix programming? Now let's see. So whenever if you want to update the records, we have to follow few steps. It's not like as a straightforward. Previously, we have used straightforward options in insert. Straightforward, we can able to insert the record. We can delete the records straightforward. We can delete the record straightforward. But here we have some steps available. Let's see. Let me explain the pictorially, and then I will show you that. For example, I have an account object. So this is my account object. Okay, for example, I have an account object. In this account object, I have this account ID. I have this account name, rating value, and the industry. Rating value and the industry. These are 4 columns are there inside my account object. I'm having these columns. Account ID column, name column, rating column, industry column. These are the 4 columns are available inside my object. Now, I'm having few records. First account record is 001 223344. This is my account record ID. For example, name is Samram. Rating value some heart. Industry some finance. Second account 001 334455. Name is some Praveen Kumar. Rating value some warm. Industry some banking. 001 445566. The name is some Abhishek. Rating value is some cold. Industry some education. Fourth record 001 556677. Name is some Satya Kumar. Rating value some warm. Industry some banking. This fifth record is 001 667788. Name is some Kranti. Some Kranti Kiran. Rating value some heart. Industry some insurance. Okay, these are the account records are there inside my object. Okay, these are the account records are available inside my object. Now, so once the records are available, now my requirement is whatever the account records are there, whose industry is equals to banking. Okay, whatever the accounts records are available, whose industry is equals to banking, for those records, I want to assign this rating value as heart. Because banking customers are very valuable customers to me, so I want to give the heart rating. That means high rating to my banking customers. I want to give the high rating, okay, for this banking customers. So whatever the banking customers are available, for that banking customers, I want to give the hot rating. Then how can we do this? Now tell me generally what we can do. Now, let me show you in the practical manner generally. For example, I have this account object here. In this account object, I have an account record Gini point. For this account record rating is cold. I want to change it as hot. What we can do? First of all, open the record. That means record is there in the database. So collect the record from the database. That means open that record by collecting from the database. And then assign that values. What we need to do, once the record has been opened, then change the rating value from cold to hot. That means assign the new value and then save these changes back to the database over here. Okay, save these changes back to that database. I'm changing it back to that database over here, like as I'm going to changing it to, okay, hot. Now I'm updating it back to that database over here. That means what? Whatever the banking accounts are available, for those banking accounts, I want to assign the rating value as hot. Then how can we do this? What we did as of now, open the record from the table and then assign the new value for the rating field and then update the changes back to the database. This is what the process we did. That means, first of all, we are collecting the data from collecting the record from the table. And then as a step 2, assign the new values. Third one, we need to update the changes back to the database. These are the 3 steps we need to follow over here. Okay, these are the 3 steps we need to follow as part of this update operation. Like the similar way, exactly, we have to do the same thing over here. Here also, first of all, what we need to do, we have to write one SOQL query. Okay, we have to write an SOQL query over here. We have to write an SOQL query. So I want to write an SOQL query here. Through this SOQL query, I need to collect these records. Through this SOQL query, I need to collect this record from this object. So what is that SOQL query we need to write? I'm going to be writing the query like this. Now, I'm writing the query like this. Select ID of the account record, rating value, industry from account object. From account object, I'm collecting where industry equals to banking. So whatever the banking account records are available, I would like to collect that banking account records, and then those records I'm collecting through SOQL query. So now whenever I'm going to be executing this SOQL query, what it will do, it will collect only those banking account records. So now how many banking account records are available inside my object right now? We have 2 records are available. These are the 2 records are available inside my object over here. These are the 2 records are available. This is one record and this is the second record. This is the second record. These are the 2 records are available inside my object, which are having that industry equals to banking. Now, so I would like to collect these 2 records over here. So now whenever I'm going to be collecting this, whenever I'm executing this SOQL query, the SOQL query will return these 2 records here. How can we store these records? By preparing a list collection over here, by preparing a list collection. So which is list of account, LST accounts. That means here we are going to storing these records inside my collection. So we are writing an SOQL query. Through this SOQL query, we are collecting the records which you would like to update. Don't collect all the records. Collect only those records which you want to update. So collect these records and then store them into a collection. Once the records has been getting collected, then update these records by iterating this collection, assign some new values for these records over here. So now, whatever the records are available, we can able to make the changes for these records over here. Okay, we can able to make the changes here. Assign some new values here. Okay, assign the new values. Assign new values for the fields. Assign new values for the fields. So now, whatever the account records are available, so for those account records, I want to change these values over here. I want to assign these values. What are the values we need to assign for this particular rating field? I want to assign the value as heart. So that here, I'm going to be assigning this value as heart. So rating value, I want to assign it as heart. I'm going to be assigning this rating value as heart. For this account record, I'm going to be assigning the rating value as heart. So now how we are assigning this heart value? By iterating this collection. So whatever the collection is available, I'm going to be iterating this collection. How can we iterate this collection? Let me write this piece of code over here. Now, for each and every account record, SEC from LST accounts, I'm going to be iterating this collection over here. And then what we need to do, we are going to be assigning the values. SEC dot rating equals to heart. We need to assign this value as heart. That means what? Once this particular collection has been available, then we need to iterate this collection from starting to ending, collect each and every record, and then assign the value as heart for the rating field. Once the values have been getting assigned as heart, then we can able to commit the changes back to that database. That means we are going to be updating this records values. So once the values have been getting assigned, then we are going to be updating the records back to the database over there. Okay, update the records back to the database. These are the steps we need to do. So now here in this case here, okay, in this case, what needs to be done in this case? Now let me explain. As a step one, collect that records. Okay, as a step one, collect the records here. As a step two, assign the values for each and every record, whatever you want. As a step three, we need to commit the changes back to the database. These are the three steps we need to follow. Okay, as a step one, collect the records from the object. As a step two, we need to assign the values for this particular fields based on the requirement. As a step three, commit the changes back to the database over here. These are the three simple steps you have to follow as part of this update statement. If you know this flow, update statement is very, very simple. Nothing else. Simple concept. You know how to write the SQL query. You know how to iterate this collection. You know how to assign the values. Everything you know. Simple concept. Nothing different. Everything is same concept what we did as of now. Now, so now here in this case, how can we implement this functionality? Now, let's see the practical part over here. Update statement. By using this statement, we can update either one or more records inside the object. By assigning the new values for the fields. By using this statement, we can update either one or more records inside the object by assigning the new values for the fields. So we can assign some new values for those fields also so that we can able to update the records. Now, while updating the records, we have to follow the below steps. As a step 1, get the required records to be get updated by using a SOAKable query and store them to a collection. For example, list of account lst accounts. Select ID of the account, rating, industry from account where industry equals to some banking. Where industry equals to banking. This is the first step. As a step 2, what we need to do here in this case? This is the first step. So as a step 1, we need to collect the records over here. Now, so now here as a step 2, what we can do now here in this case? Now, iterate the collection from starting to ending and assign the new values for the required fields. Iterate the collection from starting to ending and assign the new values for the required fields. Then what we can do? For each and every account record, ACC from the collection. I would like to assign ACC dot rating equals to heart. I'm going to be assigning the values. And step 3. Once all the records has been assigned with the values, then commit the changes back to the database by using update statement. So now I would like to specify update LST accounts. Simple. These are the 3 simple steps are available. Whenever if you want to update the records, we have to follow this is syntax over here. Syntax. Update only one record. Update only one record. If you want to update only one record, we have to use update the particular object name where exactly the record is available. Update multiple records. How can we update the multiple records? For that one, I'm using update the collection object name where exactly the records are available to be get updated. This is how we are going to be updating the records inside your object. So now here in this case, how can we do this one with a practical example? Now let's see the practical part now. Now, so now here in this case, how can we do this one? So let's take a sample example on this one. How can we update these records here? Let's take a small use case. So let's see the same example over here. How can we do this? Now, for example, I'm having this account records are available inside my account object. Now, so whatever the banking account records are available, okay, for those banking accounts, here there is a banking account which is having the value as far. So many banking account records are available. So I want to collect those banking account records, and for those banking account records, I want to change that rating value as hot. How can we do that? Now let's see practically in this case. Whatever the banking account records are available, for those banking account records, I would like to make that rating value as hot. How can we do that? Now let's see practically in this case. Now, let's see that use case here. Create an Apex program to assign the rating as hard for all banking customers. For all banking customers. Create an Apex program to assign the rating as hard for all banking customers. Then what we can do here in this case? Now let's see. Public static void update banking customers. Update banking customers. So whatever the banking customers are available, I want to assign the rating value as hard for all these banking customers. For all these banking customers, I want to assign the rating value as hard. Now let's see practically in this case. So in this case, I'm going to be collecting that all the account records. List of account, LST accounts equals to, I'm collecting the record. Select ID of the account, name, rating, industry. From account where industry equals to banking. Whatever the account records are available, whose industry is equals to banking, I'm collecting those account records. So once the records have been getting collected, then I want to assign the rating value as hard. Now, in this case, I'm verifying the conditions. Okay, I'm verifying this condition. So now here in this case, if the collection is not empty, that means SOQL query has written some records. Okay, SOQL query has written some records. If the query has written some record, that means there are some records are available whose industry value is equals to banking. There are some records are available. So we are collecting those records. If the collection is not empty, then iterate this collection from starting to ending. Iterate this collection from starting to ending and then assign this value. SEC dot rating equals to hard. I'm assigning this value as hard, and then we need to update these changes. Update LST accounts. I'm committing the changes back to that database. So I'm collecting all the account records whose industry value is equals to banking, and then once all the records has been getting collected, once all the banking records has been collected, then I would like to iterate that collection from starting to ending by using this enhanced for loop, and then I'm assigning that rating value as hard for each and every account record. Once the rating value has been assigned as hard, then we are going to be updating these account records, okay, into the collection, into that object here by using this update statement. Now, so before that, let me verify, do we have any validations on this object over here? Now, let me deactivate these validation tools.
So for testing purpose, we are removing all the validation rules?
Yes, right. That's what here. For the testing purpose, I'm going to be removing, I'm deactivating the validation rules. I'm not removing it, just I'm making it as deactivated.
Yeah, deactivating, yes, exactly.
Okay, now. So in this case, let me execute this business logic right now. So I'm going to be invoking this method. So DML helper dot update banking customers. So now whatever the banking customers are available, I would like to update. Before that, let me verify. Go to that accounts, collect all the accounts. I want to get only the banking customers over here. These are the banking customers are there. For few banking customers, we are having the rating value is equals to hard. For few customers, we are having the rating value is equals to warm. So I want to assign it to hard for all the banking customers over here. So now what are the banking customers are available? Totally 20 records are available. For these records, I want to assign this rating value as hard. Then what we can do in this case? Now let's see. So let me click on execute button. so that we can able to update all these account records, like as all the banking account records in one shot. Now, let's see this user interface. Refresh this user interface now. So few banking accounts are having the rating value as a warm. So now it has to change it to hot. See, all these banking account records has been assigned with the rating value as hot. So whatever the account records are available, whose industry is equals to banking, all these account records rating value has been changed as hot. This is how we can able to update the records inside your object in one shot. Not only one, multiple records also we can able to update in one shot. Okay. Now, this is how we are going to be using update statements.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, can you switch on to the code once?
Yeah, tell me.
Yeah, can you? Yeah. So we can eliminate this 274, 275 line and write this string in 280 line, right?
Which one?
We can eliminate the list collection step 74, 75.
Yeah, you can write this SQL query directly inside the for loop also, no problem. You can write whatever the way you want.
Right. That's all. Okay.
Yeah.
Excuse me, sir.
So let's see one more use case. How can we implement then another use case? Yeah, tell me.
Could you please go back to the code? Sir, if we look at the SQL query, we said where industry is equals to banking, and we could possibly also add and rating is
Not equals to hot also. Yeah, we can write, no problem. Okay, we can write that one also. That means whatever the account records are there, whose industry equals to banking and rating is not hot. We can get those records, we can able to update it, no problem. Anyhow, we are using only one update statement, right? That's what. It may be one record, multiple records also, we are doing the same thing, no changes.
And in the for loop, we have mentioned the object called ACC. All it does is it fetches record by record from the list, right?
Yes, right.
And when would it commit to put that rating back to the list? How will it happen?
So now once this particular record value has been getting assigned, once this current records rating value has been assigned to hard, this entry will be storing inside the collection. But this collection is not committed back to the database. Here we are going to be committing the whole collection back to the database. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Now, so let's take one more small use case. Write an Apex program to deactivate the user based on the specified username. Based on the specified username, how can we deactivate the user? You know the concept of users as part of security, you know that concept here. We have discussed in detail of each and every feature of security concept. You know how to manage the users, how to deactivate the users through user interface, you know, but now I want to deactivate that user through programmatically. Whenever if I'm passing a username to my procedure will collect that username. Based on that username, it has to collect that user record, it has to deactivate that user. Then how can we do that? How do we know whether the user is in deactivation stage or not? When you go to the user, there is a field called as is active field, which will be indicating whether this user is in active status or not. We can able to verify that over here. We can verify whether that user is in active status or deactivation status. We can verify that. So in this case, suppose for example, if I'm passing this username testing user 332@cis.com, then it has to collect this user record and it has to deactivate that user. That means this active checkbox has to be selected as false. Now I need to make this checkbox as false over here, so that this user will not be in active status. This user is in deactivation status here. So now here in this case, we are going to be using this update statement also. How can we do that? We'll see practically in this case. Now, so now let's see how can we implement this functionality. Let's see a practical use case. How can we write this code? Now let's see. I'm writing a method inside my class. Void deactivate user. Deactivate user. I would like to deactivate the user based on that username. Okay, based on the username, I would like to deactivate a user here. Then how can we do that? Now let's see practically. I would like to pass a username. So I'm passing one parameter string. Okay, so now username. My parameter name is uname, which is of type string. So I would like to pass a username. Based on that username, it has to deactivate that user record from my user object. Now, in this case, how can we do this one? Now let's see practically. Now, first of all, whenever if you want to fetch the records based on this parameter, we have to verify whether this parameter value is empty or not. I want to verify if uname not equals to null and uname not equals to empty. That means if the username is not null and not empty, that means if the username has been supplied by user. So the developer has supplied that username to this method. So I would like to collect that user record. So user to deactivate. I'm giving that variable name as user to deactivate, which is of type user. Collect the user record. Select that user ID and the first name of the user, last name of the user, username is active, whether the user is inactive or not. I would like to collect that. From user object, where username equals to uname. Okay, username equals to uname. So now here in this case, I'm giving that limit class also, because here, so we would like to store only one, limit one, because I have defined a single variable so that we can store only one. So now then how can we deactivate this user? So once the user record is available, then I want to verify whether the user is available or not. Upon executing this SQL query, sometimes with this matching condition, there may not be any user record. That means we don't have any users with this particular username. Might be we have supplied some wrong username also. So at that time, the collection will be getting empty. If the collection is empty, then we no need to do anything over here. So for that one, I would like to verify if user to deactivate dot ID not equals to null. Not equals to null. That means if the user record ID is not null, user is there, then I want to update it. User to deactivate dot is active field equals to false. Then I would like to update it. Update user to deactivate. That's it. Simple. So that here I'm going to be collecting that user record from the object, and then I'm storing inside my collection or the variable also anything, because here I have the confirmation that I have given the limit class equals to 1, so it will return only one record. That's what I have stored that record inside my variable, and then I'm verifying if the record is exist or not. If the record is exist, then I'm going to be deactivating that user record by assigning that is active field value as false.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, we don't need limit class, right? Because we are not storing in any collection.
Because here we are storing inside that. Suppose if this SOQL returns multiple records, then it can't store inside a single variable. That's the problem. That's what I have given like as limit 1.
Okay. Okay.
Sir, you mean to say the username can be duplicate?
Sorry?
The username.
No, username cannot be duplicate one. Basically, inside that Salesforce instance, username cannot be duplicate one. Username should be always unique across all the region servers. Suppose
if
this is not a user object, see, one thing, let me explain. Suppose if this is not the user object, suppose if I'm getting the data from a different object, then at that time there may be some duplicate records. So in this case, if I'm not using the limit class, then at that time it will return multiple records, but that cannot be accommodatable inside a single variable. That's what I have given this limit class inside this.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, now, but in user object with a specific username, you will be having only one user record across all the region servers. That is a fundamental principle that already we have discussed. Okay, now.
Sir, I want to ask one thing. Hello.
Yes.
In line number 5, you wrote that if username not equal to null and username not equal to empty, the username not equal to empty, it's checking both the values. Is it means field is empty or field is null? It check both the values. Then if I say you wrote that username not equal to empty in line number 5.
Okay.
This will check both the field is empty.
No. See, null is different, empty is different. Okay, null is different, empty is different. So that here we have to check both the conditions. The value should not be empty. The value should not be null. For that one, when you go to that string also, when you go to that string functions also, you will be having that functions are available. Okay. Now you will be having that is empty. Okay, is empty. You will be having that to verify that whether this string is empty or not. You will be having that is null. Okay, is not blank, there is a value, is not empty, is numeric. Okay, we can able to verify all the things also. So whenever you are going to passing that string parameters, so whenever based on the string parameter, if you are fetching some values, then we have to compare both. We have to avoid that null pointer exceptions also. Okay, because if some nothing is there, then what we can do inside that? If the value is empty, then at that time we can't fetch anything over there. That's what here I would like to check both null and then empty also both.
Okay.
If it is a numerical, we have to check only the null. Okay, if it is a numerical, we have to check only null. That means currency also, numericals also, we have to check only null. But for the string parameter only, we have to check both null and empty also both.
But fields not equal to empty, it check both null value and the string value.
No. See, if it not equals to empty means it won't check the null. Null value is different, empty value is different. That's what we are adding two conditions over there. If everything will be done by this particular empty itself, then okay, we no need to use this one. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Now, so why? Because suppose for example, let me explain. So now here I'm having string yes. I'm having string yes equals to now in this case here. Okay, now here in this case we are going to be indicating yes1 for example. Okay, now I'm indicating this yes1 over here. Yes and yes1, two variables I have defined. In this case, this variable will be having null, this variable will be having empty. If it did not assign anything, it will be storing that null. Okay, but here I have assigned something here. What is that? Empty value we have assigned. Okay, so this is the different. Empty value is different, null value is different. So that we have to check both the conditions also. For the string parameters especially, we have to check both.
Yes, Piyush, got it.
Now. So now let me execute this. For example, I'm going to be invoking this method, but here we need to pass that parameter. What is that parameter? Username I need to pass. So let me take one username over here. For example, I'm collecting this username, manager user, okay, 3321. But currently this user is in active status. This user is in active status, indicating that tick mark has been selected. That means user is in active status. I want to deactivate this user, so I'm passing this username. So I'm passing this username, which is of type string type. So I'm going to be executing this. Click on execute. Then it is going to be collecting that user record. Once the user record has been getting collected, it is going to be deactivating that user. Now let's refresh this user interface now. So now it has deactivated that user. User manager has been deactivated. This checkbox has been unselected. Okay, so this is how we are going to be deactivating this user records by passing that username dynamically at runtime. Now, so let me place one more functionality. Let me take in another use case. Now, so let me take one more use case. Now, for example, assume that I'm having an account object. I'm having an account object right now. Now, whatever the account records are available inside my object, based on that industry, I want to update the annual revenue values. Okay, I want to update the annual revenue values for each and every account record. Based on that industry, I want to assign some annual revenue value for each and every account record. Then how can we do that? Now let's see practically in this case. Now, let's take a small use case. Write an Apex program to assign the annual revenue value for the account based on the specified industry, based on the industry as below. So based on that industry value, I want to assign some annual revenue. Industry name and the annual revenue value. If the industry equals to banking, I want to assign that annual revenue value as some 80 lakhs. If the industry equals to some finance, I want to assign the annual revenue value as some 65 lakhs. If the industry equals to some education, I want to assign it as 50 lakhs. If the industry is equals to some insurance, I want to assign the value as some 1 crore. If the industry is equals to some manufacturing, I want to assign the annual revenue value as some 74 lakhs. These are the values I want to assign to my account records annual revenue fields based on that industry. I want to collect all the account records. Whatever the account records are available inside my account object, I want to collect all the account records, and then I want to identify the annual revenue values, so the industry values. Based on that industry names, I want to assign the annual revenue values for those particular records. So depends upon the industry name, I want to assign that annual revenue value. Then how can we do that? Now let's see practically. Now, let's see the practical part. Now, I'm going to be indicating that update or auto populate annual revenue. Auto populate annual revenue. I would like to populate that annual revenue value for my account records. So I want to collect all the account records over here. Then I would like to assign that values. Now let's see how can we do this. So I'm using the for loop. In this for loop, I'm writing the SOQL query. Select ID of the account, name of the account, industry, annual revenue from account. Okay, from account. So I'm collecting all the account records from this account object, and then I'm iterating each and every account record. So now I'm going to be collecting all the account records from the account object by making an SOQL query, and then I'm going to be collecting every account record from the collection. Once the account record has been getting collected, then I would like to check the industry value of this account. Based on that industry name, I want to assign the annual revenue value. So I would like to use a switch statement. Switch on SEC.industry. Switch on SEC.industry. That means what? I'm going to be collecting that industry value here. I'm collecting the industry value of that account record here. So now whatever the industry value is available in this account record, I'm going to be collecting this industry value. So now here in this case, if the industry value is equals to banking, then I want to assign some value over here. Now, so now here I'm indicating when banking. If the industry is equals to banking, then what is that annual revenue value you want to assign? SEC dot annual revenue equals to what is the value you want to assign? For the banking, I want to assign the value 80 lakhs. When insurance 1 crore. SEC dot annual revenue equals to 1 crore. When finance SEC dot annual revenue for finance 65 lakhs. When manufacturing SEC dot annual revenue value 74 lakhs. And then any more education 50 lakhs. Then education SEC dot annual revenue 50 lakhs. I'm assigning this value so. That means what? I'm collecting all the account records available inside the object. And then once the records have been getting collected, then I'm going to be iterating each and every record from the collection. And then I want to identify the industry value. Based on that industry, I want to assign the annual revenue values. Now, so let me execute this piece of code so that we can able to assign. So now once I have assigned these values, then I would like to update it. How can we update this one? Each and every record I can't update. For that one, I'm preparing a list collection. List of account, LST accounts equals to new list of account. Now, so once the record has been getting assigned with the values, then I would like to store that record to the collection. LST accounts dot add of ACC. I'm going to be collecting this account record. I'm adding that record to my collection. Once all the records has been added to the collection, then outside the for loop, I'm going to be updating. If LST accounts is not empty, that means if the collection is not empty, then I'm going to be updating this record. Update LST accounts. So that here I'm collecting these records over here. Whatever the account records are available inside my account object, I'm collecting all the account records, and then based on that industry value, I'm going to be assigning some different annual revenue values, and then I'm going to be updating those records back to the database. Now, so let me execute this piece of code. Click on execute. So now whatever the account records are available for each and every account record, it is going to be assigning that annual revenue value automatically. Let's go to that accounts. So now let's see, I'm arranging this records here. For the banking records, it is assigning that value as 80 lakhs. For banking, 80 lakhs it has assigned over here. These are the banking accounts are there which are having that annual revenue as 80 lakhs. And then we are having that education related, what is the value? 50 lakhs. So education related, we are having one that has been assigned, two records are there which has assigned as 50 lakhs. And then we have insurance, finance, manufacturing, like that. Finance, for each and every finance record, it has assigned that 65 lakhs over here. For each and every finance account, it has assigned that value as 65 lakhs. Manufacturing, for the manufacturing, it has assigned 74 lakhs. These are the values which we have assigned. So depends upon your industry name, we can able to assign the respective annual revenue value for your record also. This is how we are going to be implementing that update statement inside your Apex program as part of DML.
Excuse me, sir.
So this is the way we are going to be using this update statement. And in the next session, we are going to be discussing about the upsert statement and the match, and we'll see the database concept also. How can we use this database class methods to perform the same DML operations? We'll see practical. And tomorrow and the day after tomorrow, we are having the integration sessions. Tomorrow's session will be the same timings, okay, 7:30, same meeting link will be available to you. And then Sunday morning, 8 o'clock. Okay, 8 o'clock is fine for everyone. Sunday morning, 8 to 10.
Yes, yes, fine, sir.
Okay, so Sunday morning we'll be having the session at 8 to 10 o'clock. Okay, so from now onwards, every Saturday 7:30 to 9 will be having integration, and then Sunday morning 8 to 10 or 10:30 will be having integration sessions. Saturday, Sunday will be integrations. Monday to Friday will be having development sessions as usual. Okay, use the same meeting link, okay, for the integration session also.
Sir, can't we push the evening of 7, like Saturday, to the morning?
No, because here Saturday morning I'm having some other sessions also.
Okay, okay.
Okay.
So
Saturday will be the same timings.
1.5 hour, 2 hours, sir?
1.5 hour. Saturday will be 1.5 hour. Sunday you will be having 2.5 hours. Okay. Sunday morning 8 to 10:30.
Excuse me, sir.
Sir, can you share some sample resumes